I'm so honored to be here, and I've watched these ETL sessions for years. So it's a great excitement for me to be here today. As Matt pointed out, I'm the founder and CEO of Zoom, a company I founded 4 years back, actually a quick walk from here, right there in GSB. And the idea of the Zoom was refined right here in engineering school as part of E245 Lean Launchpad. So excited to be back at engineering school and sharing my journey with you. Zoom is an idea. We are solving a universal parenting challenge, how to take your kid safely and reliably from one place to another, how to transport them and take care of them at the same time. We have built a platform for schools and parents where we provide any size of the asset to them and a certified and vetted drivers when they need it and where they need it. Just to give you an idea of how big this problem is, there are 63 million families in US who face this problem every single day. And 10 million women in US have already left job to take care of their children. Schools annually spend $35 billion on very suboptimal school transportation system where kids end up spending 60 to 90 minutes on a bus trip each time. So it's a very large problem. In past 24 months, we have grown 10 times in terms of revenue. We have grown our teams by 12 times, and we have been fortunate enough to raise over $71 million from some of the very prestigious VCs in the Silicon Valley. In this time, we have also driven children 5 million miles, and we have saved California schools over $15 million, and parents 100 plus years of their time that they would otherwise spend on the road driving their children around. So Zoom today is a late-stage startup with a pretty exciting growth trajectory, and that's all is actually still pretty amazing to me. As a kid, I aspired to be an astronaut. At that time, growing up in India, in a country of 1 billion people, there was only one astronaut. But that didn't stop me from dreaming. My parents actually encouraged me to dream often and dream big. While I did not become an astronaut, my interest in science and technology actually led me to be the first person in my family to get accepted in a computer engineering program. It was a top school in India. There were 300 students, but only 6 women. At that time, in the Indian society, engineering was not supposed to be a very fit course for women. While I was taking the course, I kept hearing about Silicon Valley, this magical place called Silicon Valley, which was a fantastic place for technology enthusiasts, and people were launching their moonshots here all the time. After I finished my degree, I moved to Silicon Valley here, and I studied at Stanford, worked at several well-known companies in the Silicon Valley, and finally, eventually, that led me to my moonshot, Zoom. My journey has been one of breaking barriers, breaking stereotypes, hearing several no's, but in the process, also many people taking a chance on me, and in turn, me getting a chance of creating opportunities for others. It has been a journey from dreaming about being an astronaut to actually reaching for the stars. Today here, I'm going to share with you the 3 lessons that I learned in my lifelong journey, the 3 lessons that mattered most to me in everything I did. And these 3 things are passion, perseverance, and people. Actually, one easy way to remember these 3 lessons is equate them with the tenets of physics: inertia, momentum, and catalyst. So let's start with the first principle, passion. So your passion for something is when your love for something is greater than the fear of failure. You love something so much that you really want to do it because you're not afraid to fail. What I have come to learn is that one should only do a startup when one is very, very passionate about the problem they are trying to solve. Because building a startup is, and especially building an enduring startup, is 7 to 8 years of commitment. For example, take example of Jeff Bezos. It took him almost more than 2 decades to build Amazon into a company from just selling books to selling everything or anything and delivering to your doorstep in less than an hour. Same, if you take example of Elon Musk, who wants to change every car on this earth from gas car to an electric car, these are hard problems to solve. And they take years and years of enduring efforts. That's why it's so important to be passionate about the problem you're trying to solve so that you can sustain and be a winner. In 2013, actually, I was working at eBay. I was leading a platform where 4 million sellers used to sell anything and everything to 250 million customers. This technology-based platform actually worked like a magic. You could sell anything in a few minutes. But in my personal life, I could not solve a very simple challenge of parenting: how to take my kids from one place to another. I wanted to do well in my career and grow in it, and at the same time be present for my kids. And every day I was challenged. How do I drop my kids in the morning and yet be there for the meetings, morning meetings with executives? And how to pick my kids at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, take them to extracurriculars when I'm supposed to be at work at 5 p.m. When I looked around, I found that it's not just me. Every single parent in the eBay was facing the same challenge. And upon reflection, I realized 30 years back, my mother had faced the same challenge in a small town in India. And eventually, she left her job to take care of her 4 kids. What I realized was nothing had changed. This problem spanned geographies, it spanned generations. The same disconnect had been solved in other areas with the platforms like Amazon and eBay, but when it comes to parenting, this had not changed. It felt like I was failing as a mother and also as a business leader. So I started Zoom to solve this problem. So Zoom is a platform. With Zoom, what we are trying to do is provide parents with freedom, choice, and opportunity. What we feel is that no parent should have to make choice between their career and caring for their children. This is a problem I'm so passionate about that I'm willing to do anything and everything to solve it in an enduring way. Today, many people, especially the early stage entrepreneurs, they admire us for our success. Specifically, they admire us for raising a large amount of money, for growing 3 times year over year, for growing our team to over 100 people in just 2 years. But one misses a point. For 2 years, we did not have any money to run Facebook or Google ads. We were completely self-funded with no money from outside. There were 2 other companies that had already raised Series A before us, and there were many times we were very close to closing the company. The only reason we kept on going was just one: our passion to solve this problem at its core. So your passion can not only help you kickstart in your startup, but it also gives you unique insights into the area that you're trying to solve. Our passion to solve this problem has led us to ask deeper questions, to get one step deeper into the whole problem and see how we can solve it at its core. For example, at a very beginning stage, we realized that doing digital marketing and getting customers or acquiring customers was a very cost-prohibitive thing. If we had treated it as a wall that we cannot surmount, I would not be standing here today. Instead, we started asking who else would be willing to pay for these rides? How can we subsidize these rides and acquire customers for cheaper? And in that discussion, we realized that kids go to school every single day, and they commute from school at least twice every day. So they need at least 2 rides from school every single day. So we thought, why don't we go to school and find out if school would be willing to promote us? I still remember the cold call I had made to the assistant dean of Harker. It's a large private school in San Jose. I asked him, hey, would you be willing to promote Zoom to your parents? He said, sorry, I can't do that because we are a nonprofit. I said, okay, then how do you promote other services to the parents? He said, because school is using those services and they are paying for those services, so I'm allowed to do that. I said, okay, so how do you do your school transportation? That one question led us to an amazing $35 billion market, which nobody was attacking using technology. It was an antiquated market which was stuck in 70-year-old infrastructure, and nobody was addressing it. So what we started doing was we pivoted our business model and started serving schools as part of our business model and signed multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract. That insight and unique insight actually led us to grow 3 times year over year and led to a success that we have today. So your passion for something is one thing that can blow away the inertia that may have, the fear of failure that may have. It can actually take you away from the obstacles that you may think you face and help you reach towards your goal. But passion can only take you so far. So that brings us to our next principle, perseverance. Perseverance is actually one of them, to me, is not giving up. Even when the success is delayed, or even when the success is, you don't see any path to the success. It's just continuing on your path till you get to the end. So perseverance is actually one of the quality for entrepreneurs which is highly underrated, but it's one of the most important quality, I would say. I have practiced perseverance since I was a kid. When I was in middle school, ever since I was in middle school, I started getting up very early in the morning, like 4 a.m., to basically get ahead in the class from everybody. And this habit of perseverance, of not giving up, even when it's very uncomfortable, just became part of my life. And it became my secret superpower. So every day in the morning, what this habit enables me to do is make sure that I'm prepared and I'm ready to lead a very smart, hungry team. This habit of perseverance is something I have also applied to other facets of my life. For example, I was never, ever a runner. In high school, actually, I hated the short sprints that were there, and I never wanted to run. But then in 2016, to overcome my fear of running and also to raise money for the cause leukemia that I deeply care about, I decided to basically run for a full marathon. Anybody who knew me would say, I'm kidding. But then I started coaching with a coach, and for 3 months I coached with them. Every week, 1 mile at a time, I made progress, slowly but steadily. Unfortunately, at 18-mile mark, I got a stress fracture. And my doctor said that I could not run anymore. I was barred from running. It was very disappointing for me because I had raised money from hundreds of friends and had committed basically to raise money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and complete the Nike Women's Marathon. After a couple of days of reflecting through it, I had an alternate plan. I basically started swimming and started visualizing how it would be like running again. I missed the 20-mile run. I missed the 22-mile run, which is the last run before the 26.2-mile run. On the day of marathon, I showed up and I completed the marathon. There were so many times when at the day when I was running, my body wanted to just give up. I wanted to give up. But it was just one thing, the commitment I had made to my friends that I would be running, and the commitment I had made to myself to not let anybody down, that kept me going. Fast forward, as a founder, perseverance has really paid us off, and has led to long-term thinking. A clear example of this would be when we were raising Series A from Sequoia. We were going through the process of due diligence, and the process was going pretty well, but we were not at the final step yet. At that time, another investor had given us a term sheet, and we basically had 1 week to say yes or no. To top it all, we only had 1 month of money left in the bank, and we had to figure out how to pay our 5 employees. At that time, everybody said that a bird in hand is better than 2 in the bush. Take it now. It is the perseverance that led us to long-term thinking. We wanted to build an enduring company by partnering with a VC that had actually invested in other enduring companies like Apple, Google, Dropbox, DoorDash, Airbnb. We brought our team on board and basically decided to say no to the term sheet in hand, and we persisted through the process of Sequoia due diligence. In 2 weeks, we actually had a term sheet, and that became a defining moment for Zoom, and I would say an inflection point for Zoom, because that made the things rolling for us and have us build the company in a very enduring way. So perseverance is a quality that leads to a momentum, that builds momentum around you, which is very hard to stop once it starts. The momentum actually becomes your superpower, and it compounds into your unfair advantage as you build the company or in your life. Now, passion and perseverance can only take you so far, because what you need is a third principle, people who are actually going to catalyze your growth. Now, collaboration, creativity, and support are only possible when you surround yourself with people who have the same passion and perseverance as you. People are important both tactically and strategically. My professor in the organization behavior at GSB used to say, you're only good as 5 people you interact the most with. That makes it very important that the people that you interact with and have around you are smarter than you. It becomes extremely important for you to surround yourself with people who are better than you. I get often asked, how do you unlock the exponential growth in a startup? The insight that I have is not new, but it's true. By having the people and the most talented people in your team. Because great talent or great people actually attract the great talent. And that momentum keeps building on you. One example of this happened in the early stages of Zoom. Me and my co-founder, we used to sell the product, market the product, build the product, do operations, do everything. And we just hired 2 salespeople. By doing that, we actually got to 20, 30 school partnerships. But what we really wanted to do was grow exponentially nationwide. This was a very lofty goal, and we were not very good in the sales at all. That was not a core skill. What we wanted to do was actually get a sales leader from outside who could help us with this. So we found a sales leader who was perfect for us, but in the beginning, we were not perfect for him at all. But then we finally closed him, and if you ask him what made him join us, he would say our passion and perseverance. And since he joined us, we have actually grown our revenue 10x, and we have grown to 2,000 schools through partnerships across 5 states. And not only that, he has built a great team around that has built a very scalable process for us to keep growing the sales. The right team can make the huge difference for you. And getting your team right is both a science and an art that you have to find for what works for your startup and hone that as much as you can. Now, while people lead to the success of a startup, people can be actually number one reason that your startup will fail. I don't know if you guys have watched Professor Greer's video recently. She said that the number one reason your startup will fail is people issues. There's a book called Founder's Dilemma, which says that 9 out of 10 startups are going to fail. And 2/3 of the failure happens because of the people issues. These could be fights between the co-founders. This could be disagreement between what product do you want to build, who do you want to hire, where do you want to sell, who do you want to take investment from. Any of these problems can actually kill your startup. The speed, the quality of decision that you make, the commitment and consensus that you have for those decisions will actually determine how innovative your startup is going to be and how fast can you scale your startup. At Zoom, actually, we have learned from our mistakes. In the beginning, there was a phase when we were hiring leadership team, we started going for very shiny objects just because the resume looked good or these people come with the credentials, even when they did not match in the culture or the values for the company. These kind of mistakes can be very expensive for the company, especially at the leadership positions, because not only these people impact their work, they actually impact the team's work and the hiring that happens in the startup. Fortunately for us, we corrected this problem pretty quickly. And today, we have built an amazing team. Now, another myth about people is that people think that to attract great talent, you need a lot of money in the bank. But interesting thing is, what great people get attracted towards is your mission and your vision, and with what passion and what stories do you communicate this mission and vision to them. So this is the kind of people you want to build your startup alongside, not the people who join you just for the exit or just for the IPO. So the catalyzing effect of people can truly be the difference in your startup being amazing or mediocre. I feel blessed every day coming to the work with the team that we have built here. I hope all of you will find the people that you can connect with and work with in your endeavors and in your life. So to summarize, the power of passion, perseverance, and people can actually help you get to your moonshot. In my work, I have seen how passion can actually blow away the inertia. Perseverance can help you build the momentum, and people can catalyze growth. I hope the stories and the insights that I've shared with you actually help you in your activities and your endeavors. I hope the tools and the insights I've shared today with you help you reach your journey to the stars. I'll take your questions now.